Do you see this little guy? Yeah, it's time for him to go. Hey there, beautiful. Welcome to my channel. My name is Celine Noel. I'm an aspiring cosmetic chemist, and yeah, it's my passion to help you become the most beautiful, best version of yourself inside and out. With that being said, you can follow me on social media, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Now, let's jump right into today's video. I wanted to talk about why I don't use a beauty blender, and I know that lots of people do. I'm not saying like you don't have to use one, but these are just the 3 reasons why I've recently started to steer away from them. I used to use them a lot too, but now I find that I like putting my foundation and my makeup on with my fingers, and there's a few other reasons why you might not want to be using a beauty blender. You know, I think what happened is that I just started taking cosmetic chemistry, and suddenly I'm looking at everything that's in my makeup, including the tools I use. The first reason that I don't use a try saying that 10 times fast. Beauty blender, beauty blender. The first reason that I don't use a beauty blender is because it wastes a lot of makeup, more than you think. Because at the end of the day, this little guy is still a sponge, and it's his job to absorb as much stuff as he can. And if you're using liquid foundation or concealer on him every day, it's just gonna soak into the center of the beauty blender, and you're gonna waste a lot of product. Versus I just like to apply my makeup with my fingers because I feel like it just goes on smoother and I'm not wasting so much product, not just because of the environmental reasons, but because it's expensive. Makeup isn't exactly cheap. The second reason I don't use a beauty blender is because it's more expensive. I don't know who came up with the idea that this little sponge should be like $6 to $12. It's pricey, and I can guarantee, I know a lot about business, okay? And there is no way that this costs them $6 to $12 to make. This is all profit. I just don't see why I should spend more than $10 on a sponge. Yes, I get it. It's a makeup tool that you use over and over again, but it's just a little too expensive. The third reason that I don't use a beauty blender is because, well, and this is a big reason, is because it harbors a lot of dead skin cells, bacteria, and fungi. Ugh. Beauty blenders are different than brushes because your makeup brushes, you use them just with makeup. Usually you don't get them wet before you apply your makeup with them. But this guy, you stick him in warm water and get them all moist and put makeup on your face, and that's just a breeding ground for bacteria, and it's the perfect conditions. Like a warm, damp area is guaranteed there is going to be some bacteria and even fungi that can grow in your beauty blender. Any kind of liquid beauty product that contains water, so liquid eyeliners, foundations, concealers, those types of things, you have to have a preservative and an antimicrobial, because if you have water in your product, there's going to be bacteria that grows, and those preservatives either stop it or prevent it and make it so it takes longer for that bacteria to grow. Because every product still has a shelf life, a lot of times those preservatives just make it last a little longer. But the thing is that your beauty blender doesn't have any preservatives. It's just a little scrunchy sponge, and when you get it wet every time, there's no kind of preservative that's going to prevent that microbial growth, and it's just a breeding ground for bacteria. And I don't know about you, but I just don't want bugs on my face. Yes, there's bacteria everywhere, but I just don't think it's sanitary. Now, I don't want to scare you too much because you can clean your beauty blender. It's just a lot of work because you want to clean it like at least once a week. You don't want it to go too long, at least once a week, maybe more. In fact, I would recommend getting a new beauty blender every few months at least, just to make sure that it's clean and fine and not growing fungi. There are a few different ways you can clean your beauty blender. The first one is to just use soap and water. Now, one mistake I see people use is what they'll do is they'll take like a body soap bar, one that's supposed to be used like on your body, and use it to clean your beauty blender. And I would not recommend this because those soap chemicals, that soap isn't made to be used on your face. And because you're using your beauty blender on your face, you want to use like a facial soap bar. So I would recommend getting one that's not meant to be used on your body to clean your beauty blender. You can do it that way. Another way that you can clean your beauty blender is you can just put it in a bucket of soap and water and let it soak. And this is a really nice way as well because sometimes you can't always get all the foundation out of your beauty blender. Another thing that I've heard of people doing is that they'll just throw it in the washing machine. First of all, I don't want makeup all over my clothes, and not a huge fan. And second of all, you don't want those harsh washing chemicals on your beauty blender because your beauty blender goes on your face and it's just not a good idea. Because again, those washing machine chemicals, those were not made to be put on your face. And I'm a cosmetic chemist in training. I honestly have no idea what they put in those laundry detergents and soaps because it's probably going to be a little harsher and different than what they put in your facial cleanser. The fourth way that you can do this, and this one sounds pretty cool to me, I've never tried it, but you can microwave your beauty blender. And I mean, don't just stick it in there because it's gonna get all melty, but put it in a cup of water with soap, make sure that it's totally submerged, and stick it in the microwave for like a minute or until you can see all the foundation coming out of it. Because, well, cool story. My parents used to work at a lab and their job was to clean all the lab equipment, and they would sanitize this equipment every day, and they had to put it in like a kiln because some of the chemicals they were using and the substances, I have no idea what they used, but they would put them in a kiln and like fire it up every day because those chemicals needed to be killed. So if you really want to get rid of the bacteria, heat it up, get it hot, because apparently that works. Now I hope this helps you a little bit with your beauty blender. I don't want to come across as like someone who's like anti-beauty blender because I honestly think these are a great tool and I do use them sometimes, especially if I'm doing like pageant makeup or something that takes a little more long-lasting coverage. But for the most part, I'm not a huge fan. Obviously, you can do whatever you want. If you use a beauty blender, all I would say is that make sure you clean it often, at least once a week, and replace it every few months. And that is it for today's video, my dears. Thank you for joining me, and be sure to like and subscribe and comment down below what your thoughts are with beauty blenders and other makeup tools, and let me know if you have any video suggestions because I'm Celine and I love talking about everything. So that reminds me, I have another channel as well called Celine Talks where I talk about success, lifestyle, all fun things because you know me guys, I love everything. And I was like, 2 YouTube channels? All right. Thanks for joining me in today's video and I will see you next time.